Podcast City Network.
Listener discretion is advised.
It is time to play.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
Let's go!
A shot of entertainment to the head.
No doubt.
Sit back, relax,
Put your drinks up!
and enjoy the entertainment.
Okay.
Now we come to the payoff.
Let's rock.
Welcome, everyone, to the Everett Lee Show podcast. I'm Everett Lee. Quick shout out to everyone who follows me on Twitter. You can follow me at the Everett Lore Score Lee and Facebook.com/the Everett Lee. Click that thumbs up, and of course, Podcast City Network, the official host of the Everett Lee Show. Well, I was looking at the numbers today, and this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is 125, episode 125. I'm excited about this. And I know my guest is tonight because I had him on last year for ELS Uncut. We talked about the fan-made trailer that he made of Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Return. I'm probably screwing that up, but I'm excited that he's back on the podcast because he has a new project that we'll be talking about tonight called Terror Tales. I'm going to welcome back to the podcast on the Everett Lee Show, film director and producer Domonic Smith. How you doing, Domonic?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Excited to be back, man. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you back on, man. It's been a while since I talked to you. The last time I talked to you was actually on ELS Uncut when I was discussing with you about the fan-made Nightmare on Elm Street trailer or Return to Elm Street. Can you give me any updates or anything about that?
It's been an interesting ride, man. Just kind of seeing how everything went since we last spoke. We ended up, I was pushing it on YouTube, or we were originally pushing it through iHorror on Facebook, and then we went over to YouTube, and then it just kind of like blew up on YouTube and was like the top trending like horror trailer on YouTube for like 2 months, man. And it was awesome because whenever anything new would come out, like I remember Halloween came out and Nightmare was always a suggested like next trailer to play for like everybody. Yeah, and it was interesting. I got to talk to some of the actors from the original films. I had to chat with two of the directors from the original films, from Nightmare 2 and I believe Nightmare 5. And yeah, things got really interesting. And then it's funny because everything kind of leveled out and it wasn't really a thing anymore. And then this other Facebook page picked up the trailer and posted it. And boom, it kind of like took off again. And we were just getting like millions and millions of views. I think we're at like 6.5 million right now over like the past 2 weeks. Wow. So it kind of happened really quick. And it's cool, man. It's really cool. I'm still, holding out hope. Like, maybe something will happen. Maybe they'll reach out. Shoot, I would come on just to be a freaking production assistant, man, just to be able to be a part of that process when, they decide to reboot the franchise, because it is for sure happening without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that trailer is just so amazing, man. I watched it again the other day after I hit you up and asked you if you wanted to come back on. I watched it again, and I just love it. I love how it's shot. I just love everything about it because a lot of people loved it. I mean, yeah, like 6-some million people loved it. And I was looking at your Facebook or Twitter post, and you probably may remember this, but I was laughing when you were talking about you were at the I believe it was the dentist office, and you're wearing the Elm Street shirt. And the person said, "Oh yeah," he's like, "They get this new trailer out. You know what? They're coming out with another one." And you're sitting there, and you couldn't say nothing, but you're like, "Uh huh," and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, who made that?" I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, I met up with. I got a new client today. Last night, and I met up with him today to like drop off his hard drive, and we were just kind of just chatting and just just getting to know each other. And he was telling me about like a YouTube channel that he had started. We kind of went back and forth, and then eventually I ended up mentioning the Nightmare on Elm Street thing. I didn't mention that I did it. I was just like, "Yo, we should check out this link." And he's like, "Bro, I've seen this. Like, this thing is crazy." And I was like, "Yeah, like I made that." Oh no, he responded with, "Oh, did you help with that? Was like, did you like do production assistant or something?" I was like, "Nah, I directed that. That was me." He's like, "Get out of here!" And I'm like, "No, seriously, man." Like, so it was just it was interesting to know like how many people have seen it, and
Right.
I constantly get messages from friends and stuff who will just be like, "Bro, like this is such a big deal. Like my friend just posted it who has no clue who you are, and they all think it's real." And it's exciting, man. It's super exciting just to see that it's still kind of getting buzz.
That's cool. It is. That's great that you're still getting reaction out of it, and people are still loving it, and it's funny. Just like when they mention it to you, man, you need to check this out, and like, yeah, I directed that, and then just reaction is priceless, ain't it? It's like, no way, you did that.
It's very humbling, I'll say that.
It does. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
You put something out there that you put your hard work and creativity into it, and get the reaction from people, which is great. And I even read the comments and stuff on it and on the video, and people love it, man. They love it. They'd love to see something like this, and I would too.
Yeah.
And I hope it happens, man. I hope eventually they make you a part of it with whatever New Line decides to do with it.
Here's hoping, man. For sure, man. Here is hoping. I had actually, it's funny, I was like going, because the one question that I constantly get, people are always hitting up the fan page, and they're like, "Where can we watch this? Where can we watch this?" And I'm like, it doesn't exist. But I had actually gone through the hard drives like 3 weeks ago, just to kind of like familiarize myself again with all the footage, and I was like going through and looking at some sequences, and I'm like, "Oh man, I got a lot of scenes that I actually cut together here." So here in like a few weeks, I'm going to start releasing at least the full scenes that we actually shot, just so people can kind of get a better idea of what I was going for as far as the story goes. So people will get probably around like 5 different scenes over like the next 2 months that I'll be releasing.
Nice. That's
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I definitely am. Now, have you been at any conventions within the last year since I last talked to you, and have people at conventions come up to you and ask you about that?
I have not gone to one, man. I wouldn't say I've been slacking. What happened was like right after the trailer started taking off, my career had to, and I just became super busy, and I started working for a company out in Philly. I live in Florida, so like they would fly me out like quite often. And between that and just like my kids, and also trying to not put all my eggs in one basket and continue to make other projects.
Right.
Yeah, just life kind of took over. So, and that was like a big plan of mine, was I at least wanted to go to like one of the conventions that Robert Englund was going to be at. Like that was like my goal. And the one that I was going to make it to last year was like the last one. I had a job come up that I could not say no to. Yeah, because I had to like leave for like 5 weeks, and I was so angry. But it's just like I got kids to feed, so I got to take this gig. So yeah.
Yeah. I know what it is, definitely, like with to have kids. I mean, you have 2 kids, right?
Yeah, twin daughters.
Twin daughters. Wow. I have one daughter, and she's going through her terrible twos right now, and she gets into everything. And viewers that's viewing and listeners, I got my shades back. She hid them from me, and I found them because I didn't have them for like a couple weeks. I didn't have my shades, and I finally went in her room, and her room looks like a bomb went off because there's toys all over the place and stuff. And I found them. They were right there, hid underneath all her Minion dolls, just sitting right there. And I was, thank God they weren't destroyed. I was like, wow, this is just great. They're not destroyed, so I was happy about that. But I know how it is with kids, man, because she's going through that phase right now, and she's just her favorite word is no.
Yep.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. But what's funny is when I'm going through editing and pulling up footage of me here on the podcast and stuff, and she'll come over and she'll pull the chair over next to me and pat her hand on the chair and say, sit. I say, yeah, go ahead. She'll sit up, and then when she's looking at the screen, she says, there's Daddy. It's like, yeah. So I think that's pretty cool that she knows when she sees me up on the screen there, she knows it's me. She knows it's your
That's
dad.
adorable, man. Those are the moments we live for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. How familiar is your daughters with what you do with being a film director and film producer?
Extremely. They've slowly been figuring things out. Over the past year, I kind of made it an effort to bring them on set as much as possible, just so they can kind of like see the process more. And actually, just recently, I put them in one of my episodes for my web series Terror Tales, which is going to be super fun. I'm super excited about. It was a very small part, but they were like the main point of the episode, which is exciting. But yeah, the funniest thing that they've like done is they're convinced that I created Freddy Krueger, and like I can't convince them differently. And it's even funnier because kids at their school have seen my trailer.
Right.
And they're always telling the kids, my daddy made that. Like that's my daddy's. Like that's his. And if we're ever watching like the old Wes Craven Nightmare, like the very first one, or New Nightmare, they're always like, so Daddy, why did you do that shot like that? And I'm like, baby, that's like, I didn't do that one. That wasn't me. Like, I gotta be honest with you.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool that they thought, they think their daddy created Freddy Krueger. That is great.
It makes me feel good, though. Absolutely makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's neat. I mean, with them seeing everything that you do, and then you letting them be a part of what you do, that's just great. I tell my wife I hope at least one day that what I do with podcasting and doing with the audio and technical portions of everything that I do, that I hope my daughter catches on and catches interest in doing it, because I mean, if she does, I'd love that. But if she don't, then it's not. I mean, in a way, it's gonna hurt me. But I'm hoping she would catch on and like, what's this do? What's that do? Because whenever I'm doing a mic test with the equipment and stuff, she'll go over. I have the extra mic hooked up, and she'll reach over and try to grab it, and she'll start yelling into it, going da 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 da. I was like, and then I turn it on, just to get a mic check there, and I'm like, thank you. So at least she knows some things and stuff. I tried to sit her down in the chair here one day and put the earphones on and a microphone, and it didn't last long. That lasted probably about 2 minutes, and then that was it. She jumped up out of there, and almost she yanked the earphones out. Like, you got to pull those off first. But
yeah, kids are reckless, man. Like, they don't care about anything.
no, they don't. They don't care about anything, and they got the shortest attention span. They have a 5-second attention span. My mother came over yesterday and gave her a book, and she picked up the book, and she was all excited about it. She flipped it over a few times, and then within a few seconds, she threw it over to the side and ran off to do something else. So that was something there, because I mean, she loves reading and she loves her books, and I try to read to her and stuff. I was sitting there actually watching Terror Tales to check out to see what you had up on YouTube, and she came over and she sat down and she saw part of the first episode, and I didn't realize she was sitting there watching it with me. And I looked over and seen her there. I had to stop, and I'm like, no. I was like, yeah, get up and go. And she threw a fit. She got into it. I'm like, no. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. What's funny is so like my girls watch tons of horror stuff, and a lot of it just has to do with some buddy Chuck Palm, and he does like some special effects for us sometimes. He does makeup for us sometimes. And one thing he had told me when he was younger, like, really stuck with me. And I may be paraphrasing. He'll hear this and he's like, "Nah, you got it all wrong." But he was telling me how when he was a kid, and there were like certain movies that would like scare the crap out of him, and his dad told him one day, "You should research how that's done, because once you know how it's done, it won't scare you anymore." And he was like, that's how he got interested in doing special effects and makeup and all of that, was because he researched it. Mm-hmm. So the thing was, when I was a kid, we would always, every Tuesday, we'd go to Family Video, and my mom would let me pick out a movie. Right. The most interesting movie covers were always horror, like B-grade horror films, because they always had to look the best because they were so cheap. So that's how I fell in love with horror, and I was always like mature for my age, so like I kind of got away with like watching some crazy stuff. But so when I became a dad, that's like after Chuck had like told me that, I was like, you know what? I want to bring them on set more. Like, I want them to be able to see everything behind the scenes of like all the horror stuff that I do. And now, like, they are so desensitized, but like not in a bad way, because they know, one, they know it's all pretend. Two, they know how it's done, because they'll point stuff out like when we're watching stuff, and like, Daddy, how much fake blood do you think that they use for that? That's fake blood, right? I'm like, yeah, baby, that's fake blood. How much do you think that they use? Did they use the same amount that you used when you did the? I'm like, I don't know. Like, we can look it up though. Like, we can come sit down and like figure it out.
That's cool.
But yeah. I don't go too crazy though. I don't want people to like be listening. They're like, oh man, he's like watching the Evil Dead remake with them. No, like, nah, it isn't that extensive. But yeah, like I let them watch horror stuff every so often. We got really into Goosebumps, which I was surprised that they were into it, just because as much as I love Goosebumps, I can acknowledge that it kind of doesn't really stand the test of time. It's rough, man, and like I'm watching it with nostalgic glasses, so like I'm able to watch it. But if I take those glasses off, I'm like, ooh, I don't think my girl's gonna like it. And then they hit a point where every day they got out of school, they come home and they say, "Daddy, can we watch Goosebumps?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, come on, let's put this on. Like, let's sit down and watch it."
Right. Yeah, Goosebumps. My nephew and my niece, when they were growing up, they loved watching Goosebumps. I would sit down there and watch it with them when I'd babysit them growing up, and I watched the episodes with them and stuff. Some of them were pretty good. Some of them were just, you know. I mean, it's like, okay, but it's entertainment for the kids. It's entertainment for the kids. Kids are gonna love it, because you know how some things kids will love and adults will like, or they won't like, because they're like, but as long as the kid likes it, that's great, man. That's
well, great. What's crazy is, so I don't like, so I'm a huge like Arnold Stein fan, and later like back in 2014, he had come out with a new show called The Haunting Hour. And it's basically just like a modern day Goosebumps.
Right.
But in comparison, like I watched these episodes as an adult and like it's totally fine for me, but I'm watching them with like the mind frame of like 10-year-old me, and I'm like, this would have freaked me out, which blows my mind how far we've come like in horror, like what lines have had to be pushed where this is, considered TV7 or, whatever it is, where this is still for kids, because in comparison of Goosebumps and now The Haunting Hour, like they do not match up at all. Like it's, it's a lot darker.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. Another show that they would watch, my niece and nephew would watch, it came on Nickelodeon. It was
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes, that's it, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was pretty good.
Yep.
I enjoyed that growing up. I mean, I was about 14 at the time, 13, 14. Of course I enjoyed that because it was really good. They enjoyed it too. They had some crazy stuff though, but it was almost, if you really look at Goosebumps and if you look at Are You Afraid of the Dark, that was kind of like almost the Twilight Zone for kids, right?
Absolutely. Yep, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it was almost like the Twilight Zone for kids. And it's still good. Did you ever? I never did see that movie they came out with. They had, I believe, Jack Black in it. The Goosebumps movie.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, I definitely checked it out. It was okay. It didn't match up to the feel of the show. Which is always how things kind of turn out. My kids loved it, so for me, that was all that mattered. They enjoyed it, so I enjoyed it as much as they did. Like just watching them enjoy it, knowing that this was a piece of like my childhood and they're super into it. And not only that, but because they had watched the show, for them, it was like, well, this looks way better than the show that we've been watching. Like cause they don't, I'm like, yeah, baby, they like shot it on better cameras and everything. We're in the future now. Like I was your age when I watched that show. Like, yeah, it doesn't look that great now.
Yeah. I mean, back then and then compared to now, yeah, it is totally different. It definitely is. But talking about childhood, man, one thing is, what do you think about them remaking Child's Play? I want to get your take on that, man. The new Mark Hamill's voice in Chucky, and how they've kind of modernized this with the doll and everything and stuff. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I am here for it, like 100%. I wasn't sure how Mark Hamill was gonna, like, I wasn't excited when they were like, he was going to be the voice, until I saw trailer 2 and like I heard it and I'm like, yeah, let's make this happen. Like I'm super excited about it. I'm really excited about it just because they're totally rebranding it. Like they're totally doing something different. They aren't, redoing the origin story that we all know. For me, it's just like we're giving Chucky for the new generation.
Right.
So I think for me, I think it's going to be about how the new generation responds to it, not really how we respond to it, because that's what we grew up with. Even though I'm super excited about it, and I know when I go to watch it, I'm not really going to be watching it as 32-year-old me. I'm going to be watching it as 12-year-old me.
Right.
Because that's what those movies were made for, and that's what people tend to forget. Like these movies were made for teenagers and preteens. So when 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds who grew up on this stuff, like kind of getting a tizzy, it's like you have to remember you're not really the audience anymore, which is so tough for people to swallow that, because we're old now. Like it's reminding us that we are all old.
Yeah.
I'm really just interested to see the origin that they choose to come up with.
Right.
I'm also interested to see how much just realism they bring to it, because you think back in the original Chucky films, and when you become an adult, it's like, oh, I would have just kicked Chucky's ass. Like, he's just this little doll. So, like, I want to see what they do to, like, kind of help build that aspect up, like that huge hole that exists within the whole Chucky series. But overall, like, just, man, the trailers look intense, man. Like, they look super intense.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of negative feedback on it, but then if you actually read the comments and you look at what people have to say about it, a lot of people are excited about it because the fact that Mark Hamill's voicing Chucky, he did a bang up job voicing the Joker in the Batman animated series, which I loved. I thought was great.
Yeah.
And the video games, which I'm a fan of, the Batman Arkham games, he did bang up job on that, voicing the Joker, and on the TV show and the movies they've done with Batman animated series. And him doing the voice of Chucky, I feel that it's gonna be different. It's gonna be more modernized, and they're gonna try to bring it more in the modern world. But it's what I'm looking forward to is how the killings, how creative they're going to get with the killings, because especially with the one shot in the trailer with the mother looking like something from Saw.
yeah, like she's like being held upside down or something like that, I think.
Yeah,
like her mouth's taped up.
Yeah. So they've kind of if you think about it, Saw and Chucky together, and this is what you're going to get, which I think is going to be great, because being a fan of like classic horror, the Friday the 13th series, what I liked about the Friday the 13th, I believe it was 5 and up, especially like 5, 6, and 7, was how creative Jason got, especially 6 with Jason Lives, killing how he killed his victims.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting how they come up with creative ways how to kill someone, because that's always the coolest thing. It's like, how are they going to kill this person? How do you kill that person? Because I mean, some of the horror remakes, I remember when they did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Remember when they did that one right there with the Michael Bay?
Okay, which one?
The first remake they did of Texas Chainsaw with Michael Bay. He was the one who 2003 or 4, I think, had Jessica Biel in it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That I enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty good. It was really creative how he did some of the things in that movie there. But the Texas Chainsaw Beginning, actually, that was another one too. How they did the prequel to that one, that was pretty neat. And then I'm trying to think of some other remakes they've done, horror remakes, I thought was pretty neat with doing stuff creatively. Friday the 13th, that remake right there, that was pretty neat how they did some of the killings.
That one was, so I feel like that was so underrated, man. Like, people really crapped on it, and I think a lot of it just had to do with it wasn't what, like, they were expecting an origin story. Like, they were expecting an origin story when in reality it was the typical Friday the 13th sequel. Like, that's exactly what it was. I thought it was really well done. I thought, like, cinematography wise, like, they took it to a new level than all the other sequels were. Yeah, I enjoyed that, man. What's funny, I'm super excited that LeBron James is trying to like reboot the franchise or whatever, and like buy the rights with Blumhouse.
Yeah,
I really want to see where that goes.
Yeah, they should definitely bring that back, and they should bring back and do something with Freddy Krueger, and then have you at the helm of it right there.
What's funny is when I saw that LeBron James was like trying to buy the rights with Blumhouse, I was adding him on like everything that I posted about like Nightmare on Elm Street, like everything, and I'm asking everyone, how do you get in contact with LeBron James? Like, how do you, like, who knows like his people? I'm like, yo, get this trailer in front of him like ASAP.
Yeah, get it in front of him, man. Just get it in front of him. Definitely do. And here we were, before we went live tonight, we were talking that you found out that I'm a wrestling fan and you're a wrestling fan, and you talked about doing a project you did with Bran, the wrestler Bran, and that can you tell me about that there?
Yeah, so I did I was part of this competition called the Action Film Challenge, and I had seen Bram audition for a friend of mine, and I was like, dude, that guy is good. He's so good. I love his British accent, and I just love his size. So I'd reached out to him, and I was like, hey, I have this idea. I want to do this short, and it's kind of like about a retired wrestler who ends up having to like make the ultimate sacrifice, like in this film. And he's like, bro, I'm all about it. So I wrote it, and like mostly wrote it around him. And we shot it over the span of 3 days. We have Bram in there. We have some people may know him as EC3. We have him in there. And they were such fun guys to work with. And I will say this, like, working with wrestlers when you have to do like when you're selling punches and everything, they are the best at it. Like, oh my God. Like at first they're throwing these punches that were very like wrestler style, and I'm like, okay, look, I need you to switch it up this way. And like they picked it up instantly, and it looked amazing, man. And it was I mean, not only that, but like they're built to take hits. So like every so often they would like accidentally hit each other, and like I'm ready to cut, and they're still going at it. And I'm like, oh, okay, like let's see where this goes. It was definitely a great time working with them. I got to work with Bram again later on the film called Crazy Lake, where he plays he plays the killer. Like it's like a Friday the 13th type of film. It's a horror feature. He plays the killer in that. And yeah, man, he's just, Brandon's a stand-up dude, man. He's one of my favorite people to work with. Just a solid guy.
That's cool. That is. I definitely like to check that out. I definitely would. I'd definitely like to check that out and take a look at that there and see that. Talking about wrestlers and horror, were you ever a fan of the See No Evil with Kane? They did a couple of those.
Oh my God, See No Evil. I'm going to have to say no, and the only reason I'm going to say no is because I know I watched it and I can't remember it. I remember it, I may have liked it, but like I rarely have movies that I see and I can't I only remember seeing the first 5 minutes of it, but I know I finished it because I finish every movie that I watch. I never turn a movie off.
Right.
So, yeah.
I could probably refresh your memory here. It's a group of kids going to a hotel to clean and stuff, and he's there, and all of a sudden he starts killing them. He takes one scene. He takes a chain with a meat hook at the end of it, and he throws it, and it sticks in the back of this kid. And the kid's screaming, and he's pulling him and stuff and everything. And I guess a security guard or someone have a fight with him towards the end of the movie, and he falls off, and his head busts open, and all these maggots come out or something. Yeah. Does that refresh your memory?
It doesn't, man. It is killing me, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to watch it tonight because I hate that I can't remember it now. Yeah. I'm actually I got the trailer playing in the background right now just to kind of see if any images refresh my memory.
Yeah, that I thought it was pretty neat. The See No Evil, where they made Cain into a killer. I thought it was pretty neat, and I enjoyed that. I thought it was really creative. I have PlayStation View, and I'm going through looking at the on-demand movies, and they basically have all the Saw movies on there, and I never did watch the last 3 Saw movies, and I'm going to go back and just watch them because I think the last one I watched was actually, I didn't watch the 5th or 6th, excuse me, 5th or 6th one. And the last 4 I think I didn't get to see, so I saw about half of them. But I seen them on there, and I definitely wanted to see the one that came out just not too long ago last year, Jigsaw, because that looks interesting.
Yeah. I'd gone to go see that in theaters. I enjoyed it.
Oh, is it pretty neat and twisted?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it fit within the room. It was a little bit different. Man, that's another one. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, how much do I remember about that?
How much you remember of the films and stuff? It takes me a while to remember something if I've not seen it in a while, and then if I sit there and I come upon it, and my memory starts jogging and everything and stuff, and it starts to help me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that, man. I definitely remember seeing that. But
yep, I got the trailer playing now, and I remember. Yeah, the kills were crazy. Like, they were pretty creative with these kills.
Oh, it's evil.
No, for Jigsaw. Yeah, those kills were like. Yeah.
Pretty bad, huh? They were pretty bad.
Yeah. Just looking at this trailer makes me actually want to watch it again. Man, I forgot how intense this film was, man.
Yeah. There's one movie, I don't know if we brought this up last time we talked, though, but Eli Roth, who did the Hostel movies. Mm-hmm. And he did a movie, I think came out a couple years ago, called, I seen it on the on-demand movies there on PlayStation View. It was called Green Inferno. Did you ever see that one about the cannibal rainforest people?
I did. Yep, I absolutely did see that movie. It took me a little while, but I finally had gotten around to it. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I thought it was very different. It kind of reminded me of, it was like, there was a movie that came out. What is it? Apocalypto.
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie? Okay, so it would be like Apocalypto meets. There's another film that came out that it was a found footage movie about. Who was like the cult guy that, like, the whole term, like, drinking the Kool-Aid, it came from this guy.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Hellbound comic.
Jim Jones. Yeah. So there was a movie that had come out like 2 years ago that was kind of like it was based off of these events. So for me, this Green Inferno would be like a mashup of Apocalypto meets this movie. It was really well done. It was really interesting. The ending was it was definitely within it was an Eli Roth film, like, without a doubt.
Right.
You will get frustrated through this film like so much, man.
Yeah, because you're pulling for the victims, not nothing to happen to them, and then all this stuff's happening. And I've seen movies like that. You're like, damn, you're grinding your teeth.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. It's like, do something, and they can't do nothing. They're just sitting there. It's like, you can't reason with these people. They're going to eat you. That's it.
Yeah, and just like it's when you're in, I think it's so different when it's like. It's just one killer. It's like, it's just this one guy. Mm-hmm. They have so many opportunities to get out. When you watch a movie like Green Inferno, where it's an entire village of people, like, it's, maybe like 100 people. And I'm like, I don't know how this can end positively. I don't know how there's going to be anybody alive at the end. Like, they're on an island, plane crash. Like, where are they going to go?
Nowhere, basically.
Yeah.
Nowhere. That's it, man. That's definitely it. I mean,
man, you are refreshing my memory, man. I have to watch this too again, man.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you one thing I saw just a few weeks ago. I finally saw it for the first time. I wanted to see it when my daughter accidentally got a hold of the Fire Stick and ordered it off Amazon Prime. Yeah, she did. We had to put a passcode on it, man, because she started. I was looking at my bank statements, and I'm like, I didn't order that. I didn't order that. I talked to my wife. I'm like, hey, babe. I was like, you ordered this? No, I didn't order it. And then all of a sudden, we found out she'd get a hold of the Fire Stick. We leave the Fire Stick there. She got a hold of it. She started pressing those buttons, and boom, she ordered. I didn't even get to watch it. I told people about this, and they're laughing. They're like, "You didn't even get to watch it." I said, "No," because she ordered it. She ordered A Quiet Place. I finally sat down and watched that a few weeks ago.
You enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought
That's good.
They did you see it?
I did. Yeah. I freaking loved it, man.
Oh man, I loved it because it reminded me of Castaway. You know how Tom Hanks in Castaway didn't really use that much dialogue except when he was yelling at Wilson. That's basically it. I mean, not much dialogue except when the dialogue needed to be used for important parts. I thought was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really brilliant. And the guy who played Jim on The Office, I thought he did great as starring in it, and I believe he directed it too. He did fantastic job. He did. And a lot of people got mad. You probably heard this. A lot of people got mad at the ending, how it ended, but I enjoyed it, how it ended. I did.
Yeah, I was super on board with the ending of that, man. That entire movie, I had such a good time with. I thought it was very well crafted. Without giving things away, I will say the kill in that movie. Oh my God! It like.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say without like ruining it for people who haven't seen it yet. That kill was, it was a lot, and it came out of nowhere. And for me, that like the movie could not do any wrong, only because it made such a strong decision. Like, it made a really strong decision. Mm-hmm. So I had a really good time with that movie. And what's funny is, when I went to go see that movie, I went to go see it in theaters, and like freaking Transformers or something was playing next door. And this movie is quiet, and like the walls are rumbling. Like, it's just like ridiculous. And everybody's getting annoyed because they're like, this is supposed to be quiet. Like, everybody like, it's supposed to be quiet. Can you turn that movie down that's next door?
That's great. The basement, when the wife was in the basement, and then all of a sudden she turns around and there that thing was, and then it just ducks down in the water, and you're like,
yeah,
oh damn, dude. And then when she grabs her child, and all of a sudden that thing is like right there. It's like, oh shit. I've watched movies where basically I get so intense into what's going on that my palms sweat, man. My freaking palms sweat. And my palms were sweating, and I'm like, don't let nothing happen. Don't let nothing happen. And then it's just, I haven't watched a movie like that in a while that made me do that. And just had my full attention, because I wanted to see what was going to happen next. What was going to happen next after this? What was going to happen? And I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely did. Now, one thing that actually has my attention And I want to see what's going to happen next because I was wanting more after watching the first 2 episodes of Terror Tales. Tell me about how that came about there, the Terror Tales there.
Okay, so Terror Tales is a web series that I'm doing, and it's all based on true stories that we have our audience submit. The way I'd gotten interested in this was originally I was trying to start a YouTube channel with my daughters because they've been begging me for years since they've known what I do. Like, Daddy, we want to do videos. And I'd come up with this really cool idea that was within the horror realm, but it was like family friendly. And we called it Twilight Zone, like a play on like Twilight Zone. And we had come up with I'd come up with this idea, and they wanted to do just the norm, like they just wanted to like do like vlog videos and like making slime and like just all the stuff that you're used to seeing on YouTube. And me was like my just film mind and just like very business oriented. I'm like, no, baby, like YouTube is so saturated with that stuff. We got to be like this whole thing. And we started filming a few episodes, and I was like, this isn't for them anymore. Like, I can't, I can't do this. And so, I scrapped the whole show idea, but I still wanted to do a YouTube channel.
Right.
And I told them, I was like, yeah, we'll do something on the side. That's not about us getting tons of views and building an audience. It'll just be something we do for fun. So that's what we do now. And it's not even, I don't push it. It's just so they can search themselves on YouTube and be excited. So during that time, I knew I still wanted to do a horror YouTube channel. And during Halloween, back in October, I was watching something on YouTube, I don't remember, and I was cleaning, and I stumped, another video played, and it was true horror stories animated. And it was just, these short 3 to 5 minute animated stories. People submit their stories, and this animator would animate them. And it was good. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. And the thing was, with these, it would just be a narrator over the entire episode. So then I fell down a rabbit hole, man, and I started watching all of these animated videos. And then there were 5 or 6 different channels that do these animated videos. One of the biggest ones is called Llama Art. So I fell in love with those, and I'm like, crap, there's no more animated videos. And then I noticed there were these other videos that were identical to this, but they weren't animated. It would just be just images, whatever they're talking about, images would pop up, and there would be a narrator and just a bunch of spooky music in the background. And these videos was and I don't want to say lack of effort, but not as much effort as it would take to do an animation, are generating millions of views per video. And then I realized there's this huge audience for these videos, and I'm like, right, where's the live action version of this though? Where is that? Because that would be pretty cool. And I searched and searched and searched and couldn't find anything. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is the idea. This right here, I want people to submit their scary stories, and we're going to film their scary stories. And I think that would be really interesting. And I came together with this production company called Centerview Studios, and I pitched the idea to them. They fell in love with it, and they were like, yeah, we should totally do this. And within that, I had just done the whole Nightmare on Elm Street thing with iHorror, and they have a huge follow, 3.6 million followers now. And I spoke with them, told them the idea, and then they offered to come on as producers as well to help push the idea. And that's just kind of how it took off. And so we're in our first season, only 2 episodes are out. Third one will drop Friday. We release episodes every Friday. It is youtube.com/Terror Show. Make sure there's 2 S's in Terror Tales and Show. And yeah, it's all horror all the time. You can follow us on Instagram as well. Same thing, Terror Show. We do like giveaways and stuff because I'm just like, one, I love giving stuff away. Two, I'm just the one style of storytelling that I love more than anything is horror anthology. And that's what made me want to do this, because I'm such a huge fan of horror anthology. So, like we've already talking about it, like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? There's a show called Erie, Indiana. There were a ton of these shows that existed when I was a kid. So, like, that's some of the stuff that we give away. Because the show is like, if I were to give it a rating, it's like PG-13. Yeah, there's like a little bit of blood, but it's not like gory or anything. It's just, it focuses more on the moment. And that's what we enjoy. Just especially having to read all of these people's like stories. Like, we got tons of emails of people submitting these horror stories that they've been through.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so quite a bit.
Yeah, we got a few hundred.
Wow, a few hundred. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this next go around will get triple that, like quadruple that, once people get more of an idea of what the show is about. But yeah, I'm super excited about this. It's exciting just building a new audience, and also like kind of building a new audience with a new IP of just something brand new that we're creating from the ground up. Doing the Nightmare thing was amazing, but it was, it was an existing IP. It was something that everybody already knew about. Like, for this one, it's, just from the roots, man. Like, we're the little guys, like, starting off. But everybody's super into it who's checked it out. Yeah, and it's, we shot all the episodes over the span of a month and a half. So now they're all done, and just every Friday we release them, and, we do update videos every so often. Once we hit certain markers, we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers right now. We're getting really close. We're almost at 800.
Wow.
Which is good. Like, we're at like 800 in the span of like 3 weeks. So yeah, it's been an experience, man. I love it, and I'm happy to be doing it with the people I'm doing it with.
That's amazing. That is. I watched that first episode with the story with the girl going at the rest area, and that was a little bit freaky right there, because I didn't know what the heck was going to happen, and then I seen what happened. It was making me want to see what else is going to happen more. And in the second episode with the kids out in the woods drinking, and then the clowns show up, and then I was wanting to see more after that too. It's like, yeah, and I want more. I want more, because I was wanting to see more of the story. But it was great. It was fantastic what I seen, and I went ahead and I subscribed to it, and I looking forward to it now every Friday. And I like the fact that it's viewer and fan submission. So you have so much that in so many stories, which I love right there, that you can go and you have content. You have content. Yeah. That's great that you have fans give you content about stories. I'm just throwing this for example.
Because you'll never run out. Like, you'll never run out.
That's great. That's great. For example, let's just say someone talked about going to a house in the woods that's supposed to be haunted, that was in their neighborhood, and they go there, and all of a sudden it's like, is it a ghost or is it an old hermit live there? Something like that. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You could do stories like that. And it's great. It's great. I may submit some crazy stuff that's happened to me. There's some crazy stuff, scary stuff that's happened to me in the past. I may. Yeah, please
do, man. Please do. Yeah, I think the interesting thing, this is the fun thing about it, and I think it's going to take time for people to let the idea sink in, but it's because these are based off of true stories, and we're trying to do our best to hold true to the experience is you don't always get the answer. If you're out in the middle of the woods and you hear a bunch of creepy sounds and, you see some dude following you, if you get away, you never found out who that guy was. And, that's how these episodes play out because it needs to stay true to the point of view of the person who experienced it. Mm-hmm. And I think to a certain extent, that's what makes it even scarier is that I never figured out who that guy was. But in that moment, it was true fear because I didn't know who he was. And now it's even more scary because he could pop up at any time. And I never got to figure out what he was doing out there. Was he burying a body? Was he doing this? Was he doing that? We have a lot of stories that there's a few that wrap themselves up only because, luckily the person that submitted the story, they were able to find out what happened.
Right. Right.
Yeah. This one that releases Friday, I won't give too much information except for it happens in an arcade and it's actually one that I directed. Super excited about this one.
Nice.
Can't wait for everybody to check it out. But so this is one where it does get wrapped up because they found out everything in the end. And it's so messed up. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm definitely going to have to check that out on Friday. I definitely am. And I wouldn't have gotten to talk to you last year if it wasn't for Stephanie Davis, who I had on, and she recommended me to reach out to you, and she told me about the Nightmare on Elm Street trailer that you did, and I reached out to you and I talked with you, and I thought it was great conversation we had last year, and tonight we've had a great conversation. And I had a couple weeks ago on the podcast, she's gonna probably be laughing when she watches this back. I had on star of Hot Mess in a Wedding Dress, Stephanie Davis' first feature film there. Lead actress, Evelis, I had her on. You know what I'm talking about? Evie. Yeah, Evie. I had her on, and when I was mentioning on the closing of her podcast there that I was going to have you on in a couple weeks, she was excited. She's like, "Oh yeah," it's like, "I love Domonic." I said, I love him too, man. He's an awesome guy, and she was excited about that. And on tonight, when I was going through your Facebook there, pulling up pictures for doing a slideshow that when you go back and watch this, you'll see. I noticed there's a picture of you and Chelsea Wolf.
Oh boy!
What?
I don't even know which image you're talking about, but when Chelsea and I are around each other, we are crazy. So
she's wearing a pink shirt, and she looks kind of like a little bit dirty, doing a shoot or something. There's dirt on her face a little bit there. It looks like there's a playground in the background or something.
Yeah, that was a yep. I see this. I see the picture. That was a film that we did last year. It was called Bagman. It was a comedy. It was my second comedy ever. It was really exciting. She just plays this crazy young homeless woman who's just off her rocker. Yeah, and she is, man, Chelsea is so hilarious. It's funny, we had this character, and I was talking to her the night before, and she was like, all right, so what do you think of wardrobe-wise? And I was like, I don't know, hold on, let me send you some images. And then a few minutes later, I messaged her back, and I was like, ooh, this all just made me really sad. She's like, I know, right? I was like, yeah, I just looked up homeless woman, and now I'm looking at all these images that are making me sad. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And she's like, nah, it's cool. We will get through it. But But yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Both of our hearts were like going out to the homeless at that point. And we weren't even thinking about the movie anymore. It was like, all right, like, it's a comedy. Like, we just gotta, we gotta have fun. And we did. Like, we showed our friends. It was a good time. It's always a good time having her on set, man. She's hilarious.
Okay. I didn't know. Because I had her on last year, right before Christmas. I had her on, and she mentioned about that, and that's cool that I didn't know you worked on that film. That short. That's pretty awesome, man. Because she talked about that. I mentioned to her, I said I brought that up, or she brought it up somehow, and we talked about that, and that's cool that you, dude. That is awesome. That is awesome. Speaking of them, Chelsea and Lexi and Stephanie and Evie, they're pretty busy, man, here in the next couple months with a Hot Mess in a Wedding Dress, man, at the film festival.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They premiere this weekend. Don't quote me because I don't know which day it is, but yeah, they premiere this weekend. What's funny is that film that I was just talking about, that plays at the festival this weekend as well.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, Stephanie is a powerhouse, man, and I'm excited to see what comes from her. Her and I had actually, I had written a short horror film a year ago with my buddy Josh Mouse, and then fast forward to the point where we were actually getting ready to put it together, and I kind of changed everything and decided that I wanted to make our lead antagonist a woman, which kind of like swapped everything. A friend of mine, Deborah Kerr, she was producing it, and when I decided I wanted to make that change, I was like, okay, I have to have a woman come on with me to help make these changes, so I can kind of like keep things accurate, and it's not just like from a man's point of view. So I brought Stephanie on, and like we, got together, and like she wrote out these like extensive breakdowns, and freaking loved it, man. Like she did such an awesome job. I love working with Stephanie. And it came out solid. I'll actually shoot you a private link to it so you can check it out. It's probably one of the more messed up things that I've made in a long time. But I'm actually, the way it came out is so beautiful, man. I'm pretty proud of that film. I just got so distracted with Terror Tales, I almost forgot that I made
it. That's cool. Yeah, I definitely would like to check that out. I definitely would like to check that out. I appreciate that, and I've had her on, and I had Chelsea on. And Lexi on. I had a blast talking with all three of them, as always. And here at the end of next month, on the 29th of May, I'm going to have all three of them on at the same time.
Very nice, very nice. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I haven't told them yet though, but when they go back and watch this tonight, I've come up with a good drinking game because Stephanie mentioned drinking, and I was like, okay, drinking game, I got one for you. So, yeah, they're definitely gonna love the drinking game I have involved, and everyone who's gonna watch, they're gonna love it too. They're gonna be laughing at it because it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great because I came up with
that is hilarious.
Thing. Yeah. It's gonna be a triple threat, man. It's gonna be a triple threat on the Everett Lee Show on May 29th, and I'm looking forward to it because I finally get to ask a lot of questions about Hot Mess in a Wedding Dress with them. So because it'll be out by that time.
Yeah, you guys get ready, man. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of Stephanie.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, she's traveling and working and stuff, and then everything I see with what you do on Facebook and on Twitter and everything, you're busy too. You're working hard, and I am so happy that Terror Tales, I'm happy with that right there. I looked at the subscriber view already on the channel. That's fantastic. The Facebook page that's already climbing right there, and you got something going good. And I'm wishing you the best, man, and still wishing you for the new line needs to get you on for directing the next Freddy Krueger movie.
Yeah, here's hoping, man. Keep rooting for me.
Yeah. And speaking of social media, where can people find you at on social media?
Okay, so like on my private page, Facebook, you can find me at Dom the Director, and on Instagram, you can find me at Who's Your Daddy? Or no, sorry, Who's Your Film Daddy? So Instagram, it's Who's Your Film Daddy, and on Twitter, it's Who's Your Film Dad. So yeah, and then also just, check out Terror Tales, youtube.com/Terror Show. Instagram, same thing, Terror Tales Show, and Facebook, same thing, Terror Tales Show. So all unified, easy to find. Definitely check us out every Friday at noon. We will be dropping a new episode. And every Tuesday, you can check in on the Instagram or the Facebook, and we do giveaways. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and go to the Facebook page or the Instagram and comment done, and that's it. You're entered. It's super easy. And if you're already subscribed, all you have to do is share our channel on your page and comment done on Instagram or on Facebook, and you are entered. And these are totally random. We pull names out of a fishbowl for everybody who submitted. And yeah, you get your prize within 2 days because we do Amazon Prime shipping. So yeah, free stuff, man. Super easy to be a part of this whole journey that we're on.
Nice. I do like the free stuff there, and I'm sorry I was with the Instagram. I was taking a drink. I was taking a drink real quick, and then when you said "Who's your daddy?" and I was like, "What?" I knew what you meant, but that's fine.
Yeah,
and it's live, man, ladies and gentlemen. It's live. It's a live podcast. Anything goes. But hell yeah, I'm excited, and I want to thank you for coming on, taking time out tonight, and coming on with me and discussing this with me. And I got the link that you sent me, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, definitely give it a watch. Let me know what you think.
No, I definitely will. And before we do,
make sure your daughter isn't around.
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I mean, Dominic, she was definitely getting into it because I turned around, I kind of looked, and then there she was, her jaws dropped and looking, and it was during that first episode with the towards the middle with the door in the bathroom. Yeah, and what dropped on the floor. That's when I looked over and I looked at the screen. I hit stop. I'm like, now you need to go around the corner. But yeah, man. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. I definitely want to see that right there. And I do want to thank you again for coming on tonight and discussing terror tales and horror movies and a lot of good talk and discussion. And speaking of social media, you can follow the Everett Lee Show on Facebook. You can follow Everett Lee Show on Facebook.com/Everett Lee Show and on Twitter at the Everett _ Lee. And right there on the screen, Podcast City Network. Head over to podcastcity.net for the Everett Lee Show and many, many more shows and content on the website. You could also follow Podcast City Network over on Facebook, Podcast City Network, and on Twitter at Podcast City Net. Subscribe to Podcast City Network YouTube channel for video versions of this podcast and much more podcast on Podcast City Network YouTube. And follow and subscribe right here on Twitch, Podcast City Network. And you can listen to the Everett Lee Show on Apple Podcast, Everett Lee Show, Podbeam, now available. Everett Lee Show is now available on Podbeam and over on Stitcher Radio. Download that app for your smartphone and tablet, and on YouTube. Subscribe to the audio version of the Everett Lee Show on the Everett Lee Show YouTube channel. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Everett Lee Show. Right there. Thank you, Dominic, for coming on tonight and taking time out, as always. And
It was a good time, man. I appreciate it.
oh yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Everett Lee signing off. I want to wish everyone a good night and a good week, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of the Everett Lee Show. Peace.